Walrus Effect. Aziz, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
Yeah,
Good.
Thank you very much.
You're looking very well. Good to see you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you again. Yeah, looking very well. Yeah,
Thank
looking very chilled, relaxed. Yes,
Always.
after your courses and things, I believe, which we'll kind of get into. Yeah, today. So let me just introduce you. Obviously, heard a lot about you within the local community of Peterborough. Understand that you came to this country a while back, and I'll be very interested to hear your story. And it's you're a very successful man, a very successful individual, and I think a lot of people can learn from how you've become successful. So we're going to talk about how you got to where you are, your feelings, your emotions, your barriers, and let's see what people can learn, and see if anybody can get any kind of inspiration from what you've achieved. Yeah,
I will try.
You'll try. Okay. I've always said something about a word called try, but I won't say that on camera. So yeah, I think if you start off by telling us how, when you first came to this country, and what your experiences were.
I came to this country April 1987, and as I always say, because when I came from Pakistan and it was very hot, and I came in normal shirt, when I landed on a Heathrow airport, and it was very, very cold, and I was shocked, and I actually realized that I am on a K2 or on a Himalaya or somewhere there.
Do you remember the temperature? Do you remember what the temperature was?
I can't remember the temperature, but all I know, it was very, very cold.
It's very cold, yeah.
And I couldn't speak English. Funny thing, I can give you first my example in UK. When I came to the counter, show the passport to the immigration officer, he looked at me and said, is your name Abdul? And I was confused. My name is Aziz, not Abdul. He said it again. Third time he said, is your name Abdul? This young guy standing behind me, he said, uncle is asking you, is your name Abdul? I said, well, my name is Aziz, not Abdul. He said, no, your first name is Abdul. I said, okay, yes. Then he said, he laughed and actually given me the passport. First time I realized, my name is Abdul, because before that, I was actually 22 years old, but I was known by the Aziz. So it's actually first time I actually learned this in this country. Actually, you are called by your first name.
Oh, I see.
And in Pakistan and other countries, it's not actually. It's your Abdul Aziz, or it's not always the first name is your name, basically.
Yeah.
Even now, people call me Aziz. Hardly anybody call me Abdul. That was my first lesson. But the second was interesting enough. When actually I came on the counter, there was a long queue, but we got actually know this system back home that you stay in the queue.
Yes.
And wait for your turn. People go actually, whoever go on the first on the counter and show their document, and they will serve them. And I actually ignored the queue and went to the counter.
So you pushed in. In.
But before I went to the counter, the security man came and said, sir, can you go back of the queue and wait for your turn? So I think that was a good lesson. And I had basically 3 lessons on the first day when I landed this country.
Okay.
First was actually, it's a Great Britain, and you can't trust the weather. So you have to, look after yourself and try to wear the right clothes so it can be cold anytime. The second was, like, I learned that my name is Abdul now. And the third was, you have to wait in your queue for your turn and look for your opportunities.
I think queuing is a very British thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I've been on the subcontinent, obviously, and you're absolutely right. There doesn't seem to be any kind of queuing whatsoever. Yeah, it's all kind of every man or every woman for themselves, isn't it? Yeah, so I bet that was quite a culture shock for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it was actually, but I picked it up very quickly. I think there is a saying like every human being got a lid on the brain, on top of your head. Obviously, if you keep it open, and whatever actually you learn good, just put it there. And some people actually try to close that lid completely. Even they find any good opportunities, good things, they just ignore it actually, because their lid is so tight.
Okay.
So they don't let anything go in there.
Yeah.
But I am very good in that sense. Anywhere, anything good,
Yeah.
I pick it up, I see it, I straight away apply to myself.
Okay.
I just remember it.
Okay. So you came to this country when you were 22.
Yes.
Yeah. You had 3 lessons on your first day.
Yeah.
Which is quite amazing, I think. And they obviously had a profound effect on you, because how many years now later? We're talking 30 odd years later, right? You still remember
33
that.
years now.
33 years later,
Yeah.
and you still remember that. So they obviously
Yes.
had a profound effect on you.
Yeah.
And you've spoken about, the lid on your mind. Yeah. So that's kind of a closed mindset, and you prefer not to have a closed mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you arrived in this country at the age of 22, what was your next step? What was your next step after that?
Basically, I found a job in a factory, and I was getting £3.15 an hour. It was very difficult, long hours.
Yeah.
I was starting, I think it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and when I was going there, it used to be dark, and when I was finishing, it was in the late evenings, it was dark again, and I didn't see the sunlight for many months, and I was actually very shocked out. So we don't have a sun here in this country. But then I realized, because I'm starting very early and finishing very late, so that's the reason actually.
Yeah. Okay. So you went to work in a factory, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
And how long were you at this factory for?
I worked there 2 years, and I think I had a great lessons there, to be honest with you. First of all, I can give you example, like as you said, basically I was brought up in Azad Kashmir, Pakistan, and that sort of culture. And when somebody is educated or graduated there, they have this cultural mentality that that person can only work in somewhere in office, or be a professor, or like something in job in office. Nobody expect that person going to go and work in the factory. And with that sort of mentality, when I was working in this factory, testing the computers. And when I was opening up boxes and closing them, actually, my hands were bleeding sometime. I had a cut from the cardboards and all that. And one day I had a very bad cut, and I started crying. And you
started crying?
Yeah, I started crying, and I was in tears, and I thought, like, why actually I came to this country. I was having a good life back home, and why I'm doing this job, and it's very difficult and all that. During that time, we had a tea break, so everybody went to the canteen, and I was still on my desk, and I was crying. This old person, actually, who was a sweeper in the factory, was in the other corner. When he saw me crying, actually he came to me and he said, "Abdul, you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." Then he sat down with me and said, "Oh, have you got any young children in your family who needs a tuition?" I said, "What's your qualification?" He said, "Oh, I used to be a professor in Cambridge University, and I found a job in Saudi Arabia. The weather was very hot, so I didn't like it. I left that job and came back, so I got no job now."
And he was a cleaner. Sorry to interrupt.
He was a cleaner.
Yeah?
He was
Okay.
a cleaner, and
Yeah.
he found that job. And he said, "I found this job. I applied for it. They given me. I got 5 students to whom I give a tuition. I go to Regional College Peterborough. 10 hours I teach there. I still am looking. If I have 5 more students for a tuition, then I will be happy." That time actually changed my mentality completely. I thought, like, this gentleman who got master degree and PhD, and he was a professor in Cambridge University. If he doesn't mind sweeping a floor, I done only a graduation in economics. What's a big deal?
Yeah.
And then this word, you can see it, laser focus. That was the gentleman actually who
Laser
given me
focus.
the laser focus. He said, "Gentleman, if you want to live in this country, laser focus to your goals
Okay.
and have a big vision."
Okay.
And I remember till this day. And and then after a couple of years, that factory, one day I was walking out and the security guard said to me, can you go to the reception place? I went there. They given me a letter with my pay and said, oh, your job is finished. Those days, the factories used to be give a contract after 2 years, permanent contract. And I was actually very close to 2 years. So instead of they giving me a permanent contract, what they said to me, like, okay, you got no job anymore, but if you can come back on Monday, we can, give you a job again. I was very angry, and I thought that's not fair. And I walked that. I think now I'm very grateful to those people. I think like they were great people for me, because I decided from now on I will never work for anybody else, so nobody can sack me.
So that was your life-changing moment, right?
That was my life-changing moment, and I'm very grateful to those people.
Yes,
actually, who sacked me from that factory.
So you got a positive out of a negative.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have, to be honest with you, I became a best employee of the year. I was a very hard-working person there.
Yeah.
I might be still there, and actually, by now, probably a manager or supervisor or whatever, and would have been carrying my job there. But I'm so grateful to them. Actually, they,
That's interesting. That's interesting. So let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think what's prevalent at the time, at this moment in time, is that you came from Pakistan, right?
Yes.
So Pakistan to the UK is what, 6,000 miles, whatever, 5,500 miles, whatever it is. What made you come? What made you take that step? Because you were on your own, right? And you'll see at the moment, you hear it a lot in the news, in the media, that there are, refugees coming, people from Afghanistan, Iraq. Some of them are from war-torn countries, so you can understand that. But Pakistan, at the time that you came, as far as I'm aware, it wasn't war-torn, It was just a case of, okay, well, I mean, you tell me, what was it that made you come to the UK, and why the UK specifically?
Actually, my dad came in mid-60s to this country, and then I was actually little that time. My mum and my other brothers and sisters, we all came late 60s, early 70s. My mum only lived here 45 days, and she said, I can't live here.
45 days?
45 days she just lived here, and she said, I don't like the weather here. So she actually moved back to Azad Kashmir. So she took us actually back. Only one of my brother actually stayed here, but all the rest of the brothers and sisters, we all went back. But 1986, my mum passed away, and in 1987, actually, my whole family, my brothers, my sisters, my father, everybody was in this country.
Yeah.
So I thought actually just to come and actually join them, because they're not all coming back. So I'm just alone here. So I came to join them.
So what did you hear? What did you hear about the UK that was like, I have to try this. What made you take that step? Because it's a massive step. You leave your home, you leave the family and friends that you actually had in that country. What made you think, I've got to do this?
Well, to be honest with you, the mainly was the family, to join the family, because financially I was actually, I think I was a businessman when I was in a primary school.
Yeah.
Because we didn't had any shop in our village. When I was going to in a primary school, and one of my other friend who was coming from the different village, they had a shop in their village, and I used to be give him ₹1 to bring the sweets from there. So he used to be bring one packet of sweets. We both used to be sell half of it, and half we used to be eat it, and make ₹2 out of that one from a half packet. So I had always business mind. When I was in university, I was full-time student, and I was earning over 100,000 rupees a month.
In Pakistan, yeah?
In Azad Kashmir, part of Pakistan. Yeah. And that time, my professors were earning, their salary was 5,000 rupees a month. So I was earning over 100,000 rupees a month when I was actually full-time education. I was actually buying and selling land without any money. Okay, with zero finance.
Okay.
So I was just buying from one person and selling to the other one, and and just taking my profit bit from there and asking the first person, can you transfer the land to this person? So that's how I was actually making money from a land. And at the same time, I was doing traveling things like selling tickets, air tickets and things like that. So I was making really good money. So I was happy. It was not actually a financial thing that I actually left my country and came here. It was just a matter of joining my family, because my sisters, my brothers, my father, all were here, and my mom passed away. So I wanted to join my family. That was the reason to come over here.
So when you came here to this country and you joined your family and you started working in a factory and you went through that process, like you said, that life-changing process, did you find did you think at any time, you know what, I think I've made the wrong decision here?
I think first 10 years were very difficult, to be honest with you. I was always thinking I will go back. But after 10 years, you get used to it. You get used to everything. And then, I realized basically I think the main thing was the culture, you see, culture and the weather.
In what way? What do you mean the culture?
Culture, actually, as we got like a completely in Eastern countries, we got a different culture. Here is actually different culture, as you can understand. And basically, I brought up in a village, so it's a very open. You know everyone personally, and there was a completely different atmosphere. But here, obviously, sometimes you don't see your neighbor for years. So I think these type of things, when actually you brought up in that one, it's a difficult to adjust that one. It takes time. These were the cultural things, like, see, for example, if you, in a village, we have like anything. So everybody's involved. Even is a minor thing, like everybody's involved and part of that one. Here obviously it's not, and so these were the basically difficulties I had actually to adjust, to be honest with you. Mainly was the weather and the culture, but as I said to you, I always pick up new things and I learn very quickly. Yeah, and get along with them.
So with regards to that, I mean, in that you said 10 years, yeah? You said it took you about 10 years to adjust, yeah? In those 10 years, there must have been times when you thought to yourself, this is hard, yeah? This is difficult. How did you, because everyone has hurdles in life. We all know that, right? So everyone has hurdles. So how did you overcome those hurdles? How did you, I mean, you got to your laser focus at one certain time. And we'll come on to the book in a minute, because I have read the book, yeah? So, you came to laser focus at a certain point. But prior to that, how did you think to yourself, you know what, I've got to carry on. I've got to carry on with what I'm doing, rather than think to yourself, right, I'm going to give it all up and go back to Pakistan, or Azad Kashmir, as you say.
As I said to you, because the difficult was the culture to, and in those 10 years, basically I get used to it, and I actually start learning, how to get together in different communities, how to, be a member of different clubs, and how to make friends, and so basically all those things I actually learn very quickly, and then I get used to it. Actually, we got a better opportunities here,
right,
than actually Kashmir and Pakistan. So it was just a matter of understanding. So I learn very quickly and get adjusted. So I thought many times I thought it like, okay, I can go back home and live the in a comfort zone. But as you can understand, those people would like to, live in a comfort zone, never success in their life. So I suggest to everyone, actually, if you want to be successful, it's very important, come out of your comfort zone. And if you can't grow your business or whatever field you are, always change the country. If you can't change the country, at least change the city. And it will make a lot of difference. It makes a lot of difference.
That's interesting. So you spoke about your family, and clearly your family gave you support, yeah? Do you think it would have been different if you didn't have your family here? I mean, there are people that come to this country and obviously go to other countries where they think that they can, make a success of things, but they're completely by themselves. Yeah. Do you think it would have been different if you didn't have your family here, or do you think it would have been more difficult in any way?
I think it would have been very difficult, to be honest with you. But I personally think the more difficulties you go through is a better lessons for you.
Okay.
If you want to be successful in life, never get frightened of the difficulties.
Okay.
Never ever get frightened of the difficulties.
Okay.
If I have any difficulties, to be honest with you, I'm get used to now. I actually, hug them. I laugh, I smile, I say welcome, because every difficulty is a lesson for you,
Right.
and those people understand that. They gladly go over it. But sometimes some people actually don't understand. Then if they have a difficult time, or they just keep moaning about it. But I don't do that.
Okay.
If I have a difficult time, I know it won't stay forever.
That's very true.
And,
No, that's very true. Yeah.
and it's another lesson. Every difficulty gives you a lesson.
Yeah, and
So-
like that phrase, after hardship, there's always ease, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you can understand, this coronavirus, how the world is going, and especially UK
Yeah.
and all that, is a really difficult time. But to be honest with you, I think this coronavirus, same time, for some people, is a very good opportunity as well to grow. And I know many people, many companies, many individuals who actually made a lot of success during this coronavirus, because they taken it this positively. They're working hard. They don't actually sit down at home. Even they are at home, but they're doing things on internet and growing their companies, working hard, working long hours. So taking the opportunity, making their life better.
So yeah, I mean, I get that totally. And some people have that, and I felt it myself sometimes as well. You have that procrastination. You kind of think to yourself, I'll do this tomorrow. Yeah. But if you have that procrastination, then those things that you leave off until tomorrow don't actually happen, do they? They happen tomorrow or tomorrow or tomorrow. So
I'm a fan of actually Richard Branson, to be honest with you, and I
Okay.
don't know whether you read his book Screw It, Let's Do It.
okay.
And since I read that one, I never do that one. Anything comes, I say, screw it, let's do it.
That's
I
a
never
good
say,
phrase.
I will do it tomorrow.
Yeah. That's
Any
a good
deal
phrase.
comes, anything comes, like where you say, I'll think about it tomorrow, I will do it later, or I will do this. No, I remember that, screw it, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good phrase to
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
No, for sure. Okay, so you like to read? Yeah,
Yes,
clearly.
yes.
Yeah. Do you find motivation in reading? Do you find that if you read, it helps to open your mind in any way and helps you move forward?
Yeah, definitely motivational books. I do read it as well, but mainly, to be honest with you, I actually I read about the people's life, like Richard Branson
Okay.
and all the successful people. And when you learn about them, actually, basically, you pick up a lot of things actually, which are actually good lessons. I always pick up from any book I read. I always pick up good things from them and apply on myself if I can.
So you're constantly learning.
That's right.
Constantly
Always
learning. Yeah.
try.
Okay.
Try my level best.
Okay. And so, so are your mentors then? Your mentors like Richard Branson from his writings and other people, do they change constantly? Do you find that whichever book you pick up, you think, okay, I can take something from here, yeah? Or do you have particular mentors that you always go back to? Are there particular individuals that you find that you learn more from?
I mainly actually, to be honest with you, I read all the books. But the interesting books are for me is actually the most successful people in the world, either in the business or any other field. If they are actually very, very successful any aspect of life, I actually that book is very interesting me. I always find why they've been so successful, what was the reason behind it, and obviously when you read that book, actually you pick up those things. Why they've been so successful.
Yeah.
What was the reason behind it?
I think that says a lot about an individual when you're not satisfied with your success. Yeah, I think that says a lot about an individual, that you're open to learn more because you haven't actually learned everything that you could ever learn, right? So, I kind of think to myself that learning is from the cradle to the grave, for sure. Yeah. And you can always learn something new. But what is your motivation then? Yeah. What is your motivation in wanting to keep learning? Is there something that kind of drives you? Is there something that you kind of think,
I think
I need to carry on?
to achieve anything in life, to be honest with you need a burning desire. And the burning desire, I actually got the burning desire because if it's just for me, I can get retired today, and I know I got actually enough assets. I can live life comfortably. I can go and have a villa on a beach and live there comfortably.
Yeah.
But it's not actually life about myself. I actually wanted to always help the less fortunate people and support them. I would like to be a successful and make loads of money to help as much as I can to less fortunate people. And my dream is actually basically, the part of the Azad Kashmir I am, we got about 4 million population there. Half of them actually are on the poverty line. My dream is actually to help and support them and to make them self-sufficient. So instead of actually giving them money and after 6 months, they need money again. So I want to actually spend some money and time to help them to start the small businesses for them, give them interest-free loans to these people, and train them to do a small businesses so they can be self-sufficient and they can return that money as well. Don't give them a free. That's not my idea. Because if you give somebody money and say this is yours and go and do a business, they will never do the business. When you give them money and say, look, here is the money, here is the way to do the business, and I need this one back. I don't want to charge you any interest, but I want this one back in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. And then those people actually are responsible and they really work hard, and actually they try to actually get that money back to you as well, and the same money you can give to somebody else. So that's what actually my burning desire is, to be honest with you, to earn more money, to be more successful, to help others. That's the main thing.
Have you achieved towards that goal? It's a huge goal. It's a huge objective. Have you made steps towards that? Have you found that you're making steps towards that?
I actually, to be honest with you, I made small steps at the moment, but now in the next couple of years, it will be slightly a bigger level, and hopefully, my target is next 10 years, it will be to the million people.
Wow!
That's what our target is, actually, to train people. And what I learned actually from probably you heard about Dr. Yunus from Bangladesh. He is actually doing the similar sort of scheme. Actually, he's giving a loan, but he's charging them interest.
Okay.
But he done a great job for Bangladesh. And similar sort of thing we got actually in Pakistan. Dr. Saqib, he's doing it, and with his support and help, 3 million people started their businesses, small businesses.
Wow.
And mainly the females.
Okay.
And he said he doesn't actually keep the record of the people actually to whom he lends the money, and he doesn't ask them to sign any contract or any legal documents and all that, just ordinary name and address and everything else. He said his return is 100%. He said because the ladies, the females of Pakistani, they are very honest. And when you help them and you support them, how he started is he said he was in his office and this lady came and said her husband passed away and she got 2 or 3 sons and she hasn't got money to buy books for them to send them to school. So can you lend me 1,000 rupees or whatever? I can't remember exactly amount he said. So he said he given it, and she said I will return you back. And he said, I thought, how come she gonna return me back? He didn't ask her address or anything. He didn't say, he just given her the money. And he said after 6 months or 8 months, she came back to my office, given me my money and said to me, thank you very much. With your money, actually, I bought this small machine, actually making women's clothes. And I am actually making very good money now. I got 2 people working for me. And I'm giving you this money back and I request you lend this money again to somebody else.
Okay.
So, there can be another person like me, don't have to actually beg anymore because they can start their own business. And he said that's how he got the idea. He said, okay, why not actually I started doing this one.
Yeah.
And he started, and as I said to you, 3 million people who started the business with his help and support, now they're lending money back to him as well. So to support these people. So that's how actually that number is increasing day by day. I would like to do the similar thing actually in Azad Kashmir, to help and support people, lend them money, interest free, and train them, ask them to start small businesses and refund the money back.
Do you think there's a difference between being able to do that in a country like Azad Kashmir and being able to do that here? Are there any key differences that would kind of stop you from doing that here?
It's actually, the reason is because those people are actually on the poverty line and under the poverty line. Here, to be honest with you, to me, is nobody is poor or under the poverty line,
Okay.
or even on the poverty line. Even though you see people I actually help and support a lot of these people like homeless people. I actually
Here in the UK.
here in UK.
Yeah.
But I know they got a lot of money from the council and from the government and everything. They got accommodation as well, but they live by their choice on the streets. So it's their choice actually. They're spending all their money on alcohol and drugs and everything else, and living on the streets. I haven't actually seen anybody because here in this country, government takes the responsibility to every single person to provide them accommodation, and if they're not working, they give them a housing benefit and whatever the social security supports the unemployed people. But in those countries, there is no social security, there's no government help and all that. That's the reason actually. If I find anybody else, as I said, I am always open. I try my level best to help and support here. Similar thing I said to the city council.
Okay.
I wanted to help all these less fortunate people. I asked them, I had a meeting and asked them to give me a list of the unemployed people, the homeless people on the streets. So I can contact all these people and ask them and offer them jobs in my cash and carry or my other businesses and help them and support them. But months and months I waited. I didn't get back with anything.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know. I think that they think like they're supporting already and they're giving them money and, obviously. And I actually heard from the council that actually they're giving these people council houses and flats, but they're not living there. So obviously, if somebody is actually not living in the house by choice, so obviously spending more money on them, actually, I think it's not very wise. Actually, you can spend some money on those people. They are not actually living on the streets by choice. So
no, it's interesting what you say, that you don't think that we have poverty here. Yeah, I think there are some people that would obviously disagree with that. However, I can relate to that because I've seen people like you're saying that I have nothing, absolutely nothing. They live in a tent, and I'm talking about people on the subcontinent, right? Yeah. They live in a tent. They've clearly got no money coming in whatsoever, so they have to scrimp and scrape and find whatever they can. Yeah. So yeah, I can understand that. And what I mean, maybe poverty is relative. Maybe it is relative, yeah. So it depends where you see it, yeah, and in terms of its impact, upon different people. Maybe that's what it is.
Coming back to your first question, as you said, why are you doing here? When I say actually, I want to do in Azad Kashmir, I'm already doing here. As I said to you, actually, I'm always helping and supporting to the homeless people, and if I find anybody anywhere. All different organizations like schools, churches, gurdwaras, mosques, any places here locally. I'm actually running my food business for 18 years. I say to everyone, if you do anything about charity, always come to me and your food will be free. And I always do that one. It's not to one particular person, say, oh, just to mosque, you come here and I give you free. But I give it to gurdwaras, I give it to temples, I give it to churches, I give it to schools. Anybody who's doing for a charity, for a good cause, I always help and support them. I'm willing to do here as well.
Yeah.
But as I said, I can't find millions of people here on that sort of level who are living under poverty line. So that's the reason I said to you, actually, I want to do it in Azad Kashmir.
I mean, it's interesting that you touched on a couple of things there, actually. So first of all, you were talking about the different faiths, that you don't discriminate. Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Do you think that you kind of felt any kind of discrimination when you came to this country? Do you think that was a barrier in any kind of way? Did you find that at all?
I personally didn't, to be honest with you, but I think there is a racism always, not in every person. There are people in every sector, not only actually in this community, actually in all sort of communities.
Yeah.
There are always some people. So I think I personally didn't come across much of that one, to be honest with you, because I get on very well with the people very quickly.
Okay.
And I think in that sense I've been lucky.
That's interesting. You think we're lucky, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'd more say that it's more of your personality rather than just luck. I think unfortunately some people do have a hang up because of the color of their skin, yeah, and they even use it as an excuse, for not being able to get on, yeah. But I think your testimony to the fact that actually it doesn't matter what culture, background, wherever you are from, yeah, it is about your personality and how you get on with people and how you have that open mindset, I think.
I think what's important is you need to understand other people as well, see. So if somebody, is not very good, their attitude is not good, maybe it's you, the way you treated them, the way you greeted them, and they didn't like it. And if you understand that, normally as a human being, we think like we are the perfect and others are wrong. But if we have that sort of mentality, say for example, I come here, you're a good friend of mine and you're always very friendly. And today if I say, hello, Kamar, how are you? And you're not very happy and, I need to understand you. Why are you not happy? What happened? You haven't had a good day at work or something else. Instead of I actually answer you or behave in the same attitude, and obviously there will be a problem then. But I think what we need to understand as a human being is we need to understand other people's attitude and behaviors as well. So as long as you understand that, if somebody is actually very good to me all the time and one day is very angry, so I don't have to be angry with that one. I need to understand normally this person is very nice with me. Must be there is a problem or there is an issue or challenge or whatever. So just wait and see to get on with that.
That's interesting. So what about discrimination on faith? What about, do you think that people make judgments, because clearly you're a Muslim, yeah? Do you think people make judgments on that at all? Have you come across anything like that?
I think, about that one, yes, definitely. But it's... I personally think as our Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, done a speech in the United Nations, and he clearly admitted, and I think he spoke on my words, to be honest with you. I think it's our fault. It's not actually the Western countries' people's fault, because we haven't actually presented ourselves on the media and in the communities properly. So people, general public, don't know actually whatever the media is giving the news. So people obviously understand that this person blowed up, he's a Muslim, and this person done this, and whatever they see on the media, they think every Muslim is like that one. In reality, what I think is our leaders, our people's mistake, because we haven't explained to the Western people what is Islam is. So, because if we don't tell them about Islam and if they don't know, definitely they will think wrong about us. But the media is telling them, giving them a wrong information, they believe that one. But have we given them the right information? No. We haven't given them anything on our, how many, 56 Muslim countries in the world? Any of the Muslim leaders or any of the Muslim scholars come on the front line, come on a BBC, come on CNN News and tell anything about Islam. Islam is a peaceful religion. It's not this. Nobody, hardly you see anybody.
Do you think they're given a chance though? Do you think if they put themselves forward, something like that actually would happen? Do you think they are given a chance?
Why not actually? If the how many Muslim leaders or the prime ministers, if they say, ask CNN or BBC, we want a time with you, we want to speak about Islam, what is Islam is, why not? But do they ask them? No. Do the scholars ask them? No. Well, what they do is they just sit at home or sit in the mosque and say blame others. I personally think, to be honest with you, Western people are great people, but actually, why actually they think the Muslims are terrorists? Because whatever they see on the media, they feel it that way. But if we explain them, actually, I got hundreds of friends. When I speak to them and when I explain them, they have a completely different thinking about Islam. I was talking to one of this gentleman. He is 71-year-old. And I've spoken to him why we eat halal meat.
Okay.
And when I explain him why we do halal, why we slaughter it, and he said, it's amazing. He said, next time I will do that same, but actually nobody told me about this one. Why is halal, why you slaughter it? I said, it's scientifically, it's better for humankind. That's the reason we slaughter it. That's the reason the Islam says to us, it's better for the human being. Yeah, and when I explained to him, and he understood the logic, and I think there are so many things we actually haven't explained to the Western people, and whatever they see, they're just a normal media, and obviously they believe it, and they think like, okay, every Muslim got this, mentality, but in reality, it's the opposite.
So, do you think there's room for faith in business? Because clearly you're a successful businessman. Do you think there is, any kind of crossover that can actually work there?
Can you say again? Sorry.
So, there's a certain way that you do business.
Yeah.
There's certain principles. Yeah. You have certain principles. And then obviously you're a man of faith and you have your faith principles as well. Yeah. Do you think that they run in parallel together, or do you think that your faith dictates how you do your business?
I think it dictates you how you do the business, but to be honest with you, what I actually found and realized is actually to practice the faith is a lot easier in the Western countries than actually in our own countries.
Oh, really? That's
because we got more rights.
Okay.
We got more facilities, and personally speaking, to be honest with you, I go with English friends, and when I for a meal, and majority of them actually know that I don't drink, and none of them actually mind about it.
Yeah.
And we were in Cayman Island for 10 days, and every time we were having a lunch and evening meal, they were going to a restaurant where nobody going to have alcohol. And to be honest with you, I wasn't feeling well. I said, look, because it's allowed to you, you can have it. But they said, no, Aziz, when you are with us, we don't feel good, you don't drink it, and we don't want to drink in front of you. So after a meal, we can go and have a drink when you go and relax in your hotel, but we don't want to drink with you. And I think in Western countries, people, if they know you properly, I think sometimes people think, oh, if we don't drink, usually like English people don't like us. That's loads of bullshit. That's absolutely wrong. I got actually friends, I don't drink. I get on very well with them. If you pray, they don't mind, there is no restriction. And I think there are a lot of, even legally, we got actually a lot more facilities in Western countries to practice our religion than in our own countries. And especially on the law side, we got actually better laws here, and justice system is a lot better than actually in our own Muslim countries.
I think there's one word that encapsulates that, and that's tolerance.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It seems to be that this is a very tolerant culture. I mean, everybody's very tolerant of each other's of each other's faiths and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. I mean, it's interesting what you say about that we're more tolerant here than your experiences in maybe Pakistan or other countries. But I think we're going on a very deep conversation here now, right? You spoke about the Cayman Islands. Was that because I know you from before, and that you actually go on courses to kind of develop yourself and to develop your mind. Talk to me about more of that. What makes you go on them? What do you learn from things like that?
That was again, You can call it course as well, but basically there was a all successful people.
Okay.
Actually, we stayed in one place for 10 days. Every day, 8 hours we were sitting together and talking about each other's businesses, and we're trying to help each other to setting up new goals, and basically we were helping each other. So there were a lot of successful people there.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot actually in those 10 days. It was great.
What kind of things, if you say that, you learnt a lot, what was it in particular that you can pick out, that you think that, because again, it's interesting that you're spending time with people that are on that success ladder, like yourself, and you're able to learn from each other. So what kind of things did you pick up?
I think the main thing I learned is actually normally, like if you know anything, and normally people don't tell anybody else, just keep it to yourself.
Okay, selfishness, yeah.
Yeah, and there I actually learned all those people were there. Actually, mainly we were all actually in the property business.
Okay.
And everybody was helping and supporting and sharing their experience and knowledge freely. Actually, nobody was hiding anything from anyone. And half of us actually were from UK, but most of them actually from the different parts of the world as well. But nobody was hiding anything. But it could be actually people thought like, okay, he's in the UK and I will have a competition with him. Don't tell him this, don't tell him this. But, I learned there, whatever you know, tell other people, share your experience. And I think you will learn more as well. You get more as well. So that's a natural thing when actually you teach other people whatever you know. And that was one of the reason actually I wrote this book. I got actually 40 years experience in there, and my thoughts behind was like, if just one person reads this book and gets successful, I think my aim and mission will be fulfilled. So I'll be so happy. But I know actually hundreds of youngsters already told me this. They read this one and actually they found actually, and especially they get inspired by this one. They said, Uncle, you came from Pakistan and Azad Kashmir from this background and you couldn't speak English. We brought up in this country and we were thinking we can't do anything. Now after reading your book, we think we can do anything we want, because we brought up in this country, we had a good education, and we got everything. We know the culture, we know the law, and we know everything.
Yeah.
So why can't we do it? If you can do it without language, without culture, understanding of culture and everything. So definitely encourage the youngsters who got the actually background, Asian background, or it's actually more motivational for them.
Well, so what is interesting about what you're saying is there seems to be a common thread, and the people that I've read about that that are successful. So your Elon Musk's and your Richard Branson, and I could name quite a few. You all have a common thread by what it seems like, and it seems like one of your rules, if you like, is to give back to the community.
Yeah.
And to base whatever you want to do with the mindset that actually you are helping others.
Yeah.
Do you think you could, would you say that you can't be selfish in business? Yeah. I mean, clearly there are selfish people out there, right? But would you say that in terms of a principle, that it's important that you help other people in order for you to be successful? Would you say that?
I don't call it selfish, to be honest with you. I say, those people actually very successful in a business, they're not selfish. Basically, they share more.
I see.
That's why they are successful.
Okay.
They are more hardworking. And I think the as we discussed earlier, is the comfort zone. Those people know how to come out of the comfort zone. All those people know how to come out of the comfort zone. They are always successful. As the main thing, as you said, to give back to the community, I think that's the main part on any religion. God Almighty says, if you give £1 in for charity, I'll give you back 10. So when God Almighty says, it's not actually said it to just the Muslims, to whole mankind.
Yeah.
So anybody in a business who is actually giving to the less fortunate, God Almighty always gives him 10 times more. So I think those people, if you see all those people, billionaires, Why they are billionaires? Because they give billions for the charity as well.
Yeah.
And you see people probably earning £1,000 a week, and they're probably not giving even £1 for a charity, and they stay there. But those people give back for a charity. It's naturally, it's God Almighty's, support. You always get actually better and better every day.
So that's
and
the
you
trick.
get the return. You get the return.
That's the trick.
That's the trick. That's the best trick in a business.
Yeah.
If you want to do a business, do a
Yeah.
business with God Almighty.
Yeah.
Give it back to the community. Give it to less fortunate people.
Interesting.
And automatically your business will grow.
Yeah, interesting principle.
As
definitely.
as you know, Andrew Carnegie, he was the richest person.
Andrew Carnegie, yeah?
Yeah, the richest person in his time. And as we were talking about earlier, his mainly burning desire was because when he was a little kid in Scotland, and his family had a dispute with his family, and there was a park which was owned by the family, and he was not allowed to go to the park and play. So he used to be stand outside and see all these children playing in the park all the time. And then his parents decided to go to America and settle there. And he had that burning desire inside him. I want to be successful and come back and buy this park. Yes. And when he had the money, first thing he did is actually came back to there and bought that park and actually opened it for public.
I see.
And
Yeah.
now, as you can, I think, if I'm not wrong, I think 2,500 libraries. And I think somebody told me, I'm not 100% sure, our Peterborough Library, old library, that was donated by him as well.
Oh, is it
With
really?
his
Okay.
money.
Okay.
So total, he donated 2,500 libraries all over the world.
Wow.
And there are other some projects as well he done it actually with his wealth. So it's always, if actually you read anybody who is who's been a successful in life, they're giving back to the community. That's the reason of the success as well.
I see.
I think that gives you satisfaction as well. I think that's the main thing, is the satisfaction. When you give less fortunate, it gives you inner peace.
That's interesting. No, that's interesting. Okay, I wanna learn more about how you achieved your success. I mean, obviously you do go through it in your book, but if you go back to, say, you were in your factory, you were working there, you had this laser focus light bulb moment that kind of came to you, right? How did you, from that moment, think, okay, or what did you do next? What did you do next to kind of think, right, I'm going to start making money for myself now, you know?
Basically, that time I started learning. To be honest with you, I started learning different books.
What kind of books are we talking? What did you mean learning?
To learn about the successful people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I started learning about the successful people, how they become successful. That was my first step. And after that, as I said to you, when I finished from there and I decided I start my own business. So I opened my first fast food takeaway on a link road called Eastern Delight. It's still Eastern Delight, but not the same takeaway anymore.
In Peterborough, yeah?
in Peterborough.
Yeah.
And I started my first business from there. And then I seen the opportunity. Actually, there is not many cash and carries who are specialized to supply to the fast food takeaways in this area.
Yeah.
And I grabbed that opportunity and opened my cash and carry wholesale business. Then I seen self-storage business. There is opportunity there. I started self-storage business. I'm doing a property investment as well. So,
Yeah.
I met actually a lot of successful people in property and done some courses as well.
Okay, so let's sorry to interrupt. Let's go back a little bit. So you decided to open your own business, which was the first one was a takeaway.
Yeah.
How did you? Because you have to be able to raise money for that, right? You can't just have something out of nothing. Yeah. So how did you raise capital in order to start that business?
I started with 12.5% share in it. And,
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
I actually had a £2,500 my own saving, and the rest of the money I borrowed. That's how I actually started my share, and then After a year, I increased it 12.5 to 25%, and then 50%, and slowly steady.
Interesting. Okay.
And then I bought another fast food takeaway as well. So we had two.
Yeah.
So I had in both 50% share. From there, then I seen the opportunity to start the wholesale business. And the same, as I said, like you have to come out of comfort zone. When I started a cash and carry wholesale business, I had no money. I had no relationship with the bank. I couldn't speak very good English.
Yeah.
But still, I actually seen this property on Iverway, and it was very cheap because that like Westwood area was very run down. Majority of the businesses were closed in that area. They were not safe. People were not safe, feeling safe there, and they were closing their businesses and moving in other areas. And I saw that building is very cheap, so I bought it. And I just borrowed money from friends and families and whatever I could do it from bank. I borrowed it, and it was a very difficult time. It's not easy, as I said to you. Coming out of the comfort zone is not easy. I can give you an example. Like one day, I was very happy. One of my friends actually went to cash and carry and said, "You're very happy. Why is that?" I said, "I made £63 profit today," and he was shocked and he thought I am lying. How come he's happy? Because he spent almost £1 million here, invested £1 million, and he got only £63 profit, and he's happy. I said, this is the first day I made a £63 profit. That's why I'm happy. Because business is not like that. You open a first day and the income starts
making millions.
Understand? Like it takes time. You have to be patient. You have to be like. Sometimes you go through very difficult times. If you borrow money from somebody else and they need it and you don't have that one, it's a very difficult time. But you have to pay them back on a time as well. So these things are very, very important in a business. But you have to be ready all the time. It's not an easy task.
What was interesting in your book is that you spoke about image.
Yeah.
And that you have to portray a certain type of image, and you're very smartly dressed, at this moment in time as well. Do you live by that? Do you really think that this is something that you have to present yourself in a certain way to be successful? Do you think?
I think it is, to be honest with you. First impression is the last impression.
Okay, you really live by that, yeah?
Yeah, I lived by that, and I notice. I actually met many people like, so if you meet first time, that impression stays always with you, you see.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be presented well. If somebody comes to your business and first time you treat them and how you look after them, that matters to that person, and they always remember that. As well, we were mentioning about our fast food takeaway. When we opened it, I had no experience whatsoever.
Okay.
Only I knew that we're going to provide a good service, good quality, and we will make a nice and clean and tidy place. So people come here and they get really impressed that no other fast food takeaway is clean as this one.
Yeah.
That was our first, because when people were passing through there and they were seeing it, they were coming in. If you didn't have that clean shop, nice and clean and presentable, nobody will walk in there, So that was the first impression. They were coming in. When they were coming in, obviously I was giving them a good service and excellent quality. So where they're going to go now?
So that was your USP, yeah? That was your unique selling point, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
I see. And you think that's important? Do you think every business should have a USP? You think that's important?
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
You can give a good image to a customer, and if you don't give them a good service and good quality, they don't come back to you. Okay, they can come first time, but they will never come back again. But if you look after them, you give them a good quality of service and good quality of food, they are always with you. You don't need the marketing then. And I can share you this my experience of fast food takeaway, to be honest with you. First, I think a year or so, I did a lot of marketing. After that, I was not doing any marketing. It was my customers who were doing marketing for me. They were telling their friends and family, oh, you got a good food there and it's excellent service. That's how, I had that business, and it was very, very successful.
Yeah.
Very, very successful at that time.
Yeah, so I mean, again, within your book, you talk about the takeaways. You're very passionate about your cash and carry business, and it's clear that you learned a lot from that, because it seems like you learned about management as well.
That's right.
Within that business, and that I think is absolutely key. For sure, in terms of how you get on with your people, and it very very much comes across that you're very passionate about your people, yeah, and you're very passionate about your people within your business, and about supporting them, about developing them, about understanding their rights as well. Right. Yeah. And it seems put me right if I'm wrong here, but it seems like you're very clear that you have to invest in them. Yeah.
That's right. Definitely.
Yeah. That takes a big chunk of your business, right? Because payroll in itself can be a large chunk of your business. And then on top of that, in terms of development and training, yeah, things like that again takes a big chunk of your business. Yeah. But clearly, I mean, you see it as an investment. Am I right about that?
There is a saying, that if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
Yeah. Okay.
And I always believe that one, to be honest with you. If you pay, like good money, you'll get good people. And to run any business and to make that one successful, this is the basic point. Like you need a team of good people. You cannot be successful. And always have a people who are actually more intelligent than you.
Wow, that's
more clever than you.
Okay.
Generally, people think like this person is over clever, I don't want to employ him. I actually try my level best to get a people around myself who are actually more clever than me, who got more experience than me, who know better than me. So I love those people, and I even try to help them and support them and actually make them even better, to educate them and train them. The reason why is basically if you are the clever person. I think there is another saying like, if you have 5 people in the room and you think you are the cleverest one or smart one, I think you are in the wrong place then. Because you should not be there.
Yeah.
Because you will never learn anything. So if any business person, if they don't have a team of good people, and they cannot actually improve their business, they can't make their business better. But you can't have a good team of like people if you don't pay them good, if you don't look after them. That's the key to success.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting as well. So, I mean, again, you kind of talk about going from the cash and carry business. You started looking at property. Yeah. And what I found quite interesting about what you wrote is that you tried rentals. Yeah. Renting property out.
Yeah.
But then you found it was too much hard work. I mean, and then you decided not to do rentals, but you decided to do property investment. So
that's right.
What was that transition like? Why is it that rentals, you found is too much hard work, perhaps?
Basically, I was not actually letting the properties, to be honest with you. I was buying my own properties and renting them myself.
Okay.
And it was very difficult to dealing with the tenants day to day, and it was a difficult job. So because I'm not expert on that one, the reason why I mention it there, you only do the things which you know. Don't try to do everything, you see.
I see.
So I actually let all my properties to the letting agents who are experienced in that field.
Yeah.
So I got no harm paying them a commission. So they look after my properties better than myself, you see. So why I actually waste my time? So I actually given them a contract to look after my properties, and I move forward to buy other properties and convert them into flats or houses or build new houses and move forward that way.
I see. So if somebody's looking to do, go into property now, and it's a very difficult time at the moment, because of COVID, right? The banks aren't lending, I mean, you laugh at that, right? The reason why you laugh at that is it,
I think that's the excuse. This is the best time to buy the properties.
Okay.
All the investors in the properties, actually, they bought a lot of properties.
Yeah.
And then when we generally say, actually, bank is not lending the money.
Yeah.
This is not the bank's fault. It's actually the person who's actually asking for money, his fault. Because if you don't present your case properly, nobody will lend you money.
I see.
If I want a money from your pocket, I have to give you a right reason to get that money out of your pocket.
That's interesting.
So banks are like that one. They are very professional. They don't want to actually lose their money. So if you're asking a bank a right way, they will lend you money, millions and billions. There's no problem at all. But if you don't know, but that's what actually you need to learn. You see, that's the reason actually I always try to meet all these successful people, read about these successful people.
Yeah.
You learn all these things every day. You pick up these things. I was thinking, I had the same mentality as well. Oh, bank loan don't lend me money. How I can actually increase my business?
Yeah.
Because bank don't lend me money because I don't know how to ask them.
I see.
Yeah. If I ask them in a right way, if I make a right plan for it, and they can see it, black and white. This is the thing I want to do it. That's how I want to do it. Here I am now. Where I'm going next.
Yeah.
And if they can see it black and white, they will lend you money.
So even somebody that has nothing.
Yes.
Yeah?
If they have a good business plan.
So it's all about the business plan, yeah?
It's all about the business plan.
That's interesting.
But try to understand this one. You can go and ask somebody else to make a business plan for you.
Yeah.
You can pay them and they make a business plan for you and you present to the bank. They will never lend you money.
Okay.
Because when you're making the business plan, you have to be part of that one. And the banks are very clever. When you're presenting the business plan and they're talking to you, they know this is your business plan or somebody else made it for you. So whether you are able to, fulfill this one or not.
So you can't delegate everything, right?
No, you can't. You can't.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. So the property market, how do you think it is at the moment with COVID? You hear various stories that the housing market's going to drop. There's going to be a recession. How do you think these things are going to affect the market?
It will definitely affect this. There is no doubt about it. But those successful people actually buying the properties at the moment, they know as well.
Yeah.
It will drop the prices as well. But because they're buying on that sort of margin,
yeah,
because they know if the price will drop, they will be still in a profit. You see, so that's why the clever people actually buying the properties now. Whatever they can buy it, they just keep buying it.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
What's most interesting is actually you need to see the margin. If you know, like, okay, you're making 100% margin here.
Yeah.
If the price drops 50%, what's going to happen? You will be still 50% in profit, will you?
Yes.
So if you're making a margin, say 20% with this one, you're working on 20%, and you know the market will drop 50%, then you will be losing 30%.
Yeah.
So those people are actually working in this line. Buying it, obviously they actually looking those, keeping those things in mind. You see, they buy those properties where they're making a high margin. Even the property market will drop, they will not lose.
Do you think age has a factor in it? Because hopefully with this video, you will get people of different ages watching this, and you might get somebody, of an age of say 20, 21 years old, and he's thinking, well, I can't do that because I'm too young. Yeah. Do you think age has a factor in it?
No. As I said to you, when I was in university, I was earning more than 100,000 rupees a month, whereas my professors were earning 5,000 rupees a month.
Yeah.
So I was 18, 19, 20 year old as well, same time.
Yeah.
It's just the, matter of coming out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And, what do you want to do? If like all my friends used to play cricket after college, and I used to be go on the road and streets and look for the properties, the land.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. I was very interested in cricket as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing. I wanted to make money.
Yeah.
That's why I was not going to play cricket with them. And they were going to cinemas or they were going to different parties and all that. Yes, if I was free, I was going with them. Otherwise, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I'm doing this.
So you're talking about... Sorry, go on.
You need to sacrifice. That's the main thing.
That's the word I was going to use.
Whatever age you are, what people need to understand is, if you want to achieve something, you need to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Say, for example, like you want a good education. You want to do a PhD or whatever. But if you say you don't do homework, Okay, you don't spend in time on reading books, you don't go to university,
Yeah.
so you won't be able to do degree, will you? You need to sacrifice. You have to leave home. You have to go and live in a flats or hostel or wherever, and you need to spend time on studying on that, and you will miss your mom and dad and family. So then you're gonna get the degree for PhD.
Yeah.
But if you say you want to stay home, you don't want to leave your home, you don't want to study, so you don't want to sacrifice anything, you will never get to that one.
So that's a certain mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a certain mindset of being able to have that bravery
Yeah.
to kind of think to yourself, this is what I need to achieve, and this is how I want to achieve it, and I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone. Do you have any kind of message for those people that find that difficult? Yeah, because not everybody's the same. Not everybody has that mindset of being able to do that because of different fears. Yeah, a lack of self-confidence maybe, or something like that. And you don't strike me as a man that has any kind of lack of self-confidence. Yeah, you come across as a very confident man. So what is there something that somebody can do to overcome that?
I think everybody got a reason, to be honest with you, come out of the comfort zone. Some people say, for example, I can say, my English is not good. English is my second language. I'm not very good. I can't speak properly. But why? Because this is not my mother tongue. If I speak wrong or I say anything wrong, I got no problem, no issue. This is not my first language. People don't mind as long as I make them understand. So I got no issue talking in English. Why should I hesitate? Anything you don't know, there is a way to learn about it or to find a people, who can do it. In a business especially, if you can do it yourself, that's fine. If you can't do anything, you got any hurdles or you got problems, there are specialist people for those things. See, for example, if you don't know anything about the tax, there are accountants. If you know anything about the law, just speak to the solicitors, lawyers. If you don't know anything about the health and safety, there are HR people there. Just go and see them, ask them to advise you, help you. There is everything available. It's just matter of coming out of your comfort zone and contacting these people. There's no excuse whatsoever to, I can't do this because I don't know this. I can't do this. And these days you gotta Google, everything there.
Everything's there. Yeah.
Even how, I don't know how to make tea, but if you go on Google, say how to make a tea, and you get millions of videos there, how to make tea.
Very true. Yeah. Very true.
So everything is there, so it's not difficult. It's not difficult.
I heard a very interesting saying from somebody which is quite profound, and that was, look after your health if you want to succeed, because you can't be healthy, then you can't succeed, right? So I mean, just as kind of Aziz, what is it you do in your spare time? I mean, you clearly spend a lot of time with your business, but how do you relax? Do you think people should have time to relax? I mean, how
definitely, but actually, I don't call it relax, to be honest with you. I think relax is a wrong word for me.
Okay.
I don't like relaxing. I like to be busy all the time.
Yeah.
If I have a time, I go on running, and I try my level best to achieve more things in lesser time. So when I go for running, I'm actually listening audiobooks.
Okay.
So for example, if I go running for 1 hour, 365 days in a year, that means I lost my 365 hours. I just been keeping myself fit, but I haven't learned anything.
Yeah.
But if actually you listen to audiobooks 365 hours, you benefit both ways. You learn something, and same time you're healthier as well. So anything I do, I try my level best to do it in lesser time and better, achieve more in a lesser time. For my relaxation, to be honest with you, I think it's reading.
Yeah.
Meeting people, listening to other people who are actually better than me. I always try to listen to other people. Doesn't matter, as probably I mentioned in my book as well, people working in my warehouse or any jobs they're doing it, even drivers and things like that. Sometimes they tell me very interesting things. which I don't even think about them, because that's their field. They are master of their field.
Yeah.
And they tell you actually some interesting things, and I apply those ones. I take their advices, and I always ask them. If, say, for example, if I have actually problem in my transport side or warehouse, I call my warehouse staff in transport and ask them, these are the challenges, issues, can you advise me, can you help me? And they feel proud because they are the part of the process.
Yeah.
And when actually implementing something, they feel proud as well. But at the same time, because they are working all the time there, they know better than you because they are in that field. But I'm sitting in office, I don't know what's happening in the warehouse. I can say to them, oh, I can design such a nice way, and I say, implement this one. Might be that's not a practical. They know better than me because they're working all the time in the warehouse.
Yeah, I see what you're
So
saying.
they can see it whether this one is practical or not.
So it doesn't matter. What a person does for a living. You can just learn from that person whatever they do, right? That's
as I mentioned to you, that person who was actually sweeping a floor.
Yes,
he changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
He changed my life.
Yeah, very true.
So never ever think actually somebody is doing a small job or anything like that. They might be actually 1,000 times better than you. You don't know. So never think anybody is actually got lesser. Smart than you, or they got actually less education than you. I always respect everyone, and I learn from everyone.
Do you think that people should have a legacy? Do you have a legacy in mind? And what I mean by that is, do you kind of think to yourself, I'd like to leave something behind and for other people to learn from? And obviously, your book is one part of your legacy, as it were. I mean,
I think to be honest with you, as I said to you, actually, as I said to you about helping people to starting their business, that's the one thing. The other one is actually in that part of Kashmir where we live, actually, we don't have much trees there.
I see.
Okay, if you go to the rest of the Kashmir, there is a plenty of trees, but in that area we don't have many trees. My thinking is actually at least I will plant about 1 billion trees there. So
1 billion trees?
Yes, that's what my dream is.
Wow, okay.
So 100 years back, if anybody walks through there, they can still say, oh, there was somebody called Abdul Aziz who planted these trees.
That sounds like the Amazon jungle.
Yeah.
So the Abdul Aziz jungle, yeah?
Yeah, but thing is, trees are actually, good for humankind. So
Absolutely.
Basically,
Yeah.
So basically, I would like to grow 1 billion trees and actually 1 million business people. I want to train them.
That's
So
quite an objective.
That's what my aim is. So
Yeah, that's quite
that's
an
what I want to
objective.
achieve before I die.
Do you think you can do that by yourself?
Definitely 100%.
Wow. Okay. But it's okay. So that, again, that's another interesting thing. So, do you have you found that you need people? So, and you've spoken about learning from people, right? But do you find that you have to have people around you that have the same common goal that you have, and that help you to achieve it, or do you totally think that no, I can just do this myself?
I can do it myself, but because there are people, to be honest with you, there are a lot of people. But what I found is actually whenever you do anything good, people always join you.
Okay.
They automatically join you, help you, support you.
Yeah.
But I don't depend on anybody. I don't rely on anybody. I want to do it myself. Anybody comes and supports me, help me, that will be a bonus. But saying all that, I mentioned in my book as well, and actually many people actually from back home actually rang me and they said, oh, when are you coming back? We want to sit down with you. Actually, all these ideas you mentioned there, we want to sit down with you and want to know how that is possible.
Okay.
But the problem is there are little things, just a minor things. People can make money, to be honest with you. It's just a little ideas, and you can make millions of rupees out of there. But because nobody is doing it, people are frightened to do it.
I see.
Oh, why if this if I do this and I can make millions of money, why not others doing it?
Yeah.
They think like that way. But if you help somebody else to support them and train them, and once somebody else doing it, then you can tell them, look, this person did it. If he can do it, why can't you do it? I'll give an example of saffron there.
Saffron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got 1 acre land, and if you grow saffron in Pakistan, you can earn £300,000. Basically, you can earn about half a million pound.
Yeah.
In pounds, I'm talking about
Okay.
£500,000. But I'm taking about £200,000 labor because it's
Yeah, that's your labor costs.
because
Yeah.
a lot of labor costs there.
Yeah.
If you got a 1 acre land and you grow saffron in Azad Kashmir or in Pakistan, you can earn £300,000
In 1 year.
in 1 year. That's your income. But if you tell anybody else, nobody believe you. They say, if that much money is there, because why not everybody is doing it? Because
Yes,
nobody is
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
But those people are doing it. They're not doing it cleverly. They don't get actually proper training. They don't get actually
Yeah.
right people. They don't have a right labor. There is nobody to train them. These are the problems. But actually, I contacted one of the universities, Pakistani Agricultural University, and they are willing to help and support me.
Fantastic.
So when I go there and I start this one, I'm actually, even fruits trees, like, if somebody got a half acre land, if they
Yeah.
got the right fruit trees there, one family can earn easy money from there. They can make their life. They don't have to actually ask anybody else to help. And growing like, say, 50 or 100 fruit trees is not very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually start a small business with small amount of money, which can give you good income. But people don't actually, when there's a poverty, they don't actually, that's a problem, you see, because there is nobody to tell them this.
Yeah.
If you're a poor or less fortunate, nobody talk to you.
I think there's also something else as well, and this is the word that comes to my mind, and I'd be really interested in hearing your views about this, and that's the word trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surely within your career, yeah, you've come across people that you can't trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you make that decision that, I can trust this person with what I'm doing? Yeah. Or do you just give your trust to everybody? And how does it work?
To be honest with you, I got this experience, and I can't say 100%, but 99.9% I'm always accurate. In first meeting, I can see this person is a trustworthy, or this person is a good person.
Is that instinct? Is that instinct?
Yeah, that's right. When I actually see people, I can feel that one.
Yeah.
And that's always true.
Okay.
That's always
It's
true.
always been true, yeah?
I can say it's not 100%, but 99.9%
Yeah.
is accurate.
And do you
I can
think-
give you an example. Like this person walked into my cash and carry and said, "Oh, can you give me masala, please? I want to read namaz." And he had a beard as well. And he came to do a deal with me for a rice. He was from Pakistan. He had a mill in Lahore.
Okay.
And he was supplying me. This was a first meeting. And to be honest with you, when I saw the person, when he asked for a masala and namaz and all that, generally you have a good thinking. He's a good Muslim. He's a faithful person.
Let me just
whatever.
explain what masala is. It's a prayer mat.
Yeah, prayer mat,
prayer mat.
yeah.
Yeah, prayer mat. Yeah.
And I was suspicious about him.
Okay.
Yeah. When I had done a deal, it was a very bad deal, and I lost a lot of money.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
because first time when I saw him, I had a suspicion. I said, "This is not the right person."
Okay.
I'm doing a deal, but still I done the deal, and I made the loss. So sometimes
I think that's another thing sometimes as well, isn't it? That people do fear
Yeah.
going into business with somebody because of that trust, and not everybody has your natural tendency to be able to see that. I think in other people. So, I mean, what kind of advice can you give around trusting people? I mean, that can be a barrier, can't it?
thing is, I think the problem what actually I notice is actually in my experience in business in life, you always get 2% people who are the bad ones.
Okay.
2%. But the problem is 98% are good people.
Yeah.
But because you don't trust them because of those 2%.
I see.
I can give you an example. You always find, if you employ 100 people, you'll have a good 2 people. Yeah. And 98 people, you always have to push them.
I see.
They are not actually motivated, or they're not going to do the job automatically.
Yeah.
But the same thing is like as a customer, same ratio on the customer side is like you have 98% customers are good and you can trust them and they pay you on a time and everything else, and they do whatever they say. But only 2% people will cheat with you, not pay you on a time, or mess about with you. And all that money you're spending and putting these walls and barriers because of those 2%. And many people, when actually there's somebody, because of those 2 people, they put too many barriers and they don't trust anybody. When they don't trust anybody, they don't grow.
Yes.
That's the biggest challenge for them.
Yeah.
I think trusting people is good thing, but always find the ways actually how to judge these people, which is the right person, and there are always ways you can find out.
Yeah.
And one thing especially in a business, I always ask for the reference.
Yeah.
And I speak to the people, and I think that 100% that works. That reference, for example, somebody comes as a customer to me and he says, "Oh, I know Kama." I say, "Oh, do you know him?" What I'll do is I'll go to the next room, ring you, "Kama, do you know this person?" You say, "Yes, I know him." "Is he a good person?" Yeah, he's my friend for 20 years. I know him. He's a very good person. That's always the case. But if you say, "He's a good person, but don't give him a credit," yeah, so then I'm careful, you see. So always, there are ways actually you can find, always ask for the reference. If you don't know the person, always ask them a reference. Do you know anybody, which other business you know? And you always ask them, and people always tell you the truth.
So that's very interesting. So I mean, trust in itself, like you say, you can test that, and you can find out, and you can make contingencies. You can put contingencies in place. What about risk? Yeah, risk is risk is an element. There's trust is a type of risk, right? How do you overcome that fear of risk? I understand, we've spoken about stepping out your comfort zone, but people find, risk is difficult to handle. How do you overcome that?
I think every business or any success, there is a risk, always risk.
Okay.
And you have to take a risk, but it has to be measurable.
Measurable. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even there, some people get stuck. That measure it too strongly, and they are always.
What do you mean? What do you mean measure it too strongly?
Like say for example, that we were buying this property. Yeah. Oh, this is a coronavirus, and the property's prices will go down, and they will make 100 excuses with that one. But okay, you see the risks, you see the bad factors as well, but end goal has to be whether you're going to make money here or not. That's what, as I mentioned you earlier.
Yes.
Okay, this is a good property, margin. This is a property, I'm going to make 100% margin, for example. This is a very good price. I'm getting under market price now.
Yeah.
And when I actually spend some money on it, I will make 100% margin on it. Even the 50% price drops in the market, I got no problem. I'm still making 50%. Even 70% drops, I will be making 30%.
Yeah.
80% drops, still I will be making 20%. And then And if if it drops 100%, everybody will be dying in the world. So it's not only you, is it? So why you care? You take the risk. But sometimes people say, "Oh no, it will come down," and they don't see the actually end result. They just see the risks. What are the problems and the issues and all that side of it. They don't see the good side of it, that one. So it has to be the balance. When you're measuring it, you balance it. You write all the good and all the bad points, and then actually make the decision.
Interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. Some amazing inspirational things that you've spoken about.
I can give you an example. Friend of mine, I can say in rupees, he had over 3 million rupees in his account when I was in a college.
And that is in pounds? How many pounds is that? 3 million rupees is how many pounds?
3 million rupees at that time, we're talking about at least £1 million.
£1 million, okay.
Yeah, £1 million. That time when I was a student and I had no money at all.
Okay.
No money at all. We were in college. He had £1 million in his account. I had no money. I was going and buying a properties and selling it and making 100,000 rupees every month.
Yeah.
And he used to be with me all the time. I was asking him to invest that money.
Okay.
He said, no, you're an idiot. You're taking all this risk. If they don't pay you, or this going to happen, if this going to happen. He was coming all the excuses all the time. But I'm thinking now, if he would have actually that time, I'm talking about early 80s, if he would have actually invested that £1 million that time, he would have been a richest person of our Kashmir by now.
He would have been the Bill Gates of Kashmir.
Yeah. But he didn't. He didn't take a risk.
He
said,
didn't take
no,
the risk.
no, I don't want to spend. And he was with me 24/7. Every deal I was doing it, he was used to be with me. He was seeing all that money coming in. He was seeing the profit and all that, but he was still calling me an idiot because you're doing wrong things. It's too much risk. And what about if you lose here, and if you lose here, and if you lose?
People are afraid of losing everything, aren't they?
That's right.
Yeah, and they, it's interesting you talk about measuring. People measure success by material gains, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole problem, isn't it? You measure your success by how big a house you have, or how expensive your car is, or how expensive your suit is. Yeah, I think from what I'm learning from you is that that's not your measure, is it?
No.
That isn't your measure of success. What would you say is a true measure of success then?
I personally think it's the growth of your knowledge and your education and training, and it's your thinking. I would say that one. On top of that one, what you give back to the community.
Yeah,
that's the actual success.
The measure of your success.
It's not actually you wearing an expensive suit, or like you got a good car, or how much you're spending on yourself, weekly, monthly, whatever. I personally, or how many holidays you do in a year, that's not my measurement of successful. Like Warren Buffett is still going to McDonald's and drinking Coke and eating from McDonald's and living in his old house.
Yeah.
And does that make him less successful? No. He's the same person. He's the most successful person in the world. He's very popular. He's very knowledgeable. But he still goes to a McDonald's. That doesn't mean those people are actually going to very expensive restaurants and eating there and not drinking Coke and living actually big mansions or castles. They are successful. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you live. Doesn't matter what you eat. I think the matter is what you're doing for the rest of the mankind. That matters. That matters.
Some really great stuff. I just want to finish on one thing. You've been very inspirational. And said some very inspirational things, for sure. And it's very clear to see how your mindset works. Just one thing, excuse me. You said in your book about walking on fire.
Yeah.
And walking on fire coals. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see it all the time that people, they change their mindset and they walk on fire coals, right? And it doesn't burn their feet. Yeah. And now I've got somebody in front of me who's actually done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me how that happened. I'm very interested in how you actually thought, right, I can do this, and you did it, and what happened at the end of it. How did that occur?
As I mentioned to you, because I was on a course.
Yeah.
And as I said to you, like, I'm always open-minded, and anywhere I pick up anything, I actually just grab that one straight away. I was on this course, and this gentleman said, I done a course with Tony Robbins, and it's very interesting and inspiring. And I said, I never heard of the Tony Robbins. I straight away Google it.
Yeah.
And I saw Tony Robbins is one of the most successful and speaker in America. So I checked it when actually he's doing any programs in the UK, and then I found out he does one training course every year in London. So I booked that one straight away and went on there. And one day was a part of that walking on a fire as well. So I think after walking on a fire, and the course was actually the power within.
The power
within. As a human being, we got so much power, but we don't use that one. And that is the purpose of a course, and that's the reason why he makes people to walk on a fire. And from that day, my mentality completely changed. If I can walk on a fire, I can do anything.
Yeah.
And generally, you think if you walk on a fire, you will burn.
Yes.
And if you know you're not going to burn, and you walk on it, and that's the reality, it proves you, no, anything I want to do, I know It's just me who's making a decision and what power I'm using it. If I know I can do it, definitely I can do it. But if I think, oh, I can't do it,
Yeah.
you will never do it. No matter how many courses you do, how many books you read, you need to know. The main thing is I can do it. Always it has to be in mind. Yes, I can do it. And if you have that mentality, I can do it, you can do it. There's no power in this world which will stop you. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. If you think 100%, if your brain believes that you can fly, Kamar, I can guarantee you, you can fly. It's just a matter of believing it. When you believe, it happens. But you don't believe, it doesn't happen.
Fantastic.
Who would have actually thought the people working for me, the businesses, all these businesses, I am doing it. The background, the village I was born, we had no electricity, no water supply, no roads, no TV, no radio, nothing, no communication system at all. We used to go about 50, 60 miles away to make a phone call to here in the UK. That sort of environment I brought up, and who would have told you I can run all these businesses? But now, because when I come here, because I had this attitude of learning, meeting other people, meeting successful people, learning about successful people. And when I learn that I can do it, I can do it.
Fantastic. Yeah. Aziz, thank you very much for your time today. It's been truly inspirational. There's some. I've learned a lot of stuff today as well myself, and you have definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I hope that others will gain the same kind of knowledge from this video as well. So, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see each other again.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
The Waris Effect.